Welcome to HOA Boardroom Battles. Keep your boots on for this one. You cannot find me for frost on a handrail. That is insane. I am standing on my front steps in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at 7 in the morning on a February day, cold enough to freeze spit before it hits the ground, and Heather Roberts is pointing at my porch railing like it just murdered someone. She is the social committee chair for the Icefall Landing Village Association. And she has a clipboard, a laminated policy sheet with no readable text, and an expression that says she has been waiting all winter for this exact moment. The rules do not care about your excuses, and neither do I, she snaps. Frost is a slip hazard. You have 24 hours to remedy or the fine escalates. I moved to Icefall Landing 2 years ago because the mortgage was reasonable and the commute to the water treatment plant was under 30 minutes. My job means strict schedules, early shifts, emergency call-outs, and zero flexibility when the system has a problem. The HOA seemed normal at first. Standard rules about lawn care, no commercial vehicles, quiet hours. Then winter hit, and suddenly the board decided they had authority over anything even remotely connected to snow routes, sidewalk ice, plow damage, and emergency access. Heather took it personally. She started writing up violations like she was getting paid per citation, and the fines piled up fast. What is at stake for me is simple. I need peace with my neighbors. I need to park my car, get to work on time, and not spend every evening fighting paperwork wars. But the HOA is turning everyone against me, one email blast at a time. The handrail incident is how it starts. I left for my shift at 5 in the morning. It was 18 degrees. By the time Heather walked past my house at 6:30, the metal railing had a thin layer of frost. Not ice, not a hazard, just frost. The kind that melts in 10 minutes once the sun comes up. She took a photo, wrote up a violation, and left the notice tucked in my storm door. Now she is back an hour later to make sure I got the message. I point at the railing. It is bare metal now. The frost is gone. She shakes her head. The violation stands. The photo proves non-compliance at the time of inspection. I take a slow breath. The storm warning says heavy snow starts tonight, and I have to clear my driveway, document everything, and get my car repositioned before dark so the plow does not box me in. I do not have time for this. How much is the fine, I ask. $50 initial. 100 if not remedied within 24 hours. Then it goes to the compliance committee and they can escalate further. For frost that melted on its own. For failure to maintain a safe ingress-egress path during winter conditions. I stare at her. She stares back. I can see she is enjoying this. I will contest this, I say. You have that right. Submit your appeal through the portal within 5 business days. She turns and walks back toward the sidewalk, her boots crunching on the salt I spread at 5 this morning. I watch her go and I feel the first cold twist of dread in my chest. This is not about the handrail. This is about control. And she is just getting started. I go inside, pull up the HOA portal on my phone, and try to log in. The site is down. I try again. Still down. I send an email to the management company. Auto reply says they will respond within 3 business days. The storm warning is flashing on every weather app. I have tonight and maybe tomorrow morning before the roads turn into a skating rink. I grab my coat and head out to the driveway to start clearing. 2 hours later, I have shoveled, salted, and moved my car to the far corner of my assigned spot so the plow has room to push snow past me instead of into my bumper. I take photos of everything. Clear path, visible address marker, no obstructions. I am about to head inside when I see my neighbors, 2 older guys with salt buckets, standing at the property line between my driveway and the next townhouse. They are whispering and glancing my way. I walk over. Everything okay? One of them, a guy named Rick, nods slowly. Just heard Heather is telling people you refused winter safety compliance. What? Yeah. She sent an email to the whole block, said you are the one resident who refuses winter safety and that the board is being forced to take action. I feel my jaw tighten. I shoveled at 5 this morning. I have photos. I have been compliant with every rule I can even find. Rick shrugs. I am just saying, man. People are talking. I go back inside and pull up my email. Sure enough, there is a message from Heather sent to the entire Icefall Landing Village Association contact list. Subject line: Winter Safety Compliance Reminder. The body of the email is a masterclass in passive-aggressive framing. It does not name me directly, but it describes my street address, mentions repeated failures to address frost hazards, and warns that the board is pursuing escalated enforcement to protect the community. At the bottom, there is a line asking neighbors to report any additional safety concerns they observe. I screenshot the email, I forward it to myself 3 times, then I open the HOA covenant documents and start reading. I need to know exactly what authority they actually have, because I am pretty sure Heather is making half of this up. The covenant is a mess. Most of it is standard. But there is a section titled Winter Emergency Provisions that gives the board authority to impose temporary rules during snow events. The language is vague. It talks about maintaining ingress-egress paths, preventing hazards, and ensuring emergency vehicle access. It does not define frost. It does not say how fast you have to clear. It does not say the board can fine you for weather conditions. I write up a formal appeal and try to submit it through the portal. Still down. I email it directly to the management company. I get another auto reply. The snow starts at 8 that night. By midnight, there are 4 inches on the ground and the plows have not come through yet. I set my alarm for 4 in the morning so I can clear again before my shift. At 4:15, I am outside in the dark with my flashlight clipped to my pocket, shoveling the driveway and the front walk. The plow comes through at 4:30 and pushes a 2-foot berm of slush right across the end of my driveway. I shovel it out. I salt everything. I take more photos. I get in my car and head to work. When I get home at 3 in the afternoon, there is a new notice on my door. This one is neon orange. Violation. Snow pile placement. Fine. $75. I look at my driveway. The snow I shoveled is in a neat pile on the curb strip, exactly where the covenant says it is supposed to go. I read the notice. It says my snow pile is encroaching on the emergency fire lane and must be relocated immediately. There is no fire lane on my street. I checked the plat map. I checked the county GIS. I checked the HOA site plan. No fire lane. I call the management company. I get a voicemail menu. I leave a message. No callback. I email Heather directly. I attach my photos, the plat map, and a polite request for clarification. She replies in under 10 minutes. Your camera does not matter. My minutes are the truth. The board conducted a site inspection and determined non-compliance. Fine stands. That is when I realize what she is doing. She is creating a paper trail that makes me look like a problem resident, and she is doing it fast enough that I cannot keep up. Every time I fix one thing, she writes up 2 more. Every time I appeal, the portal is down or the management company does not respond. And all the while, she is sending emails to the neighbors, framing me as the guy who does not care about safety. The next day, I get an email from the management company. They confirm that the HOA portal is experiencing technical issues and will be back online within a week. They also confirm that my appeals have been received and will be forwarded to the compliance committee for review. No timeline, no hearing date. Just a vague assurance that the process is moving forward. I print everything. I start a binder. Every email, every notice, every photo. I am not going to let this turn into a he said, she said. On Friday, I get a call from a tow company. The guy on the line says they have been contracted by the Icefall Landing Village Association to enforce parking violations during snow events. He wants to confirm my vehicle make and model and my assigned spot number. I ask why. He says the HOA has flagged my vehicle for potential non-compliance with emergency access rules. I ask what that means. He says he does not have details, but he has been instructed to monitor my spot and tow if necessary. I hang up and immediately call the management company. Voicemail. I email. No reply. I look out my window. My car is in my assigned spot, exactly where it is supposed to be. No snow, no obstruction, no violation. At 6 that evening, I see Heather walking down the street with a flashlight and a camera. She stops at my driveway, takes photos, and writes something on her clipboard. I go outside. Can I help you? She looks up, just documenting. Routine inspection. Routine inspection at 6 at night? The rules do not care about your excuses, and neither do I. She walks away. That night, I get an email. Subject line: Notice of tow authorization. The body says the HOA has authorized the tow company to remove my vehicle if it remains in violation of winter emergency parking rules. The email does not specify what rule I am violating. It does not give a deadline. It just says tow authorization is active and enforcement is at the discretion of the board. I call the tow company back. I get a different guy. He confirms that they have authorization on file and that they will tow if the HOA requests it. He says the authorization is open-ended. He says I should contact the HOA if I have questions. I am beyond frustrated now. I am angry. I am also starting to get scared because I cannot afford to lose my car. I need it for work. I need it for emergencies. And the HOA is threatening to take it away over rules that do not exist. I decide I need a lawyer. I call a local attorney who handles HOA disputes. He listens to my story and says he can help, but it will take time. He advises me to keep documenting, keep appealing, and avoid any confrontation that could be used against me. He also says that if the HOA is falsifying violations, that is a serious problem and we can pursue it. But we need proof. On Saturday morning, I am clearing the driveway again after another overnight snow. The plow came through early and left another berm. I shovel it out. I take photos. I see Heather walking toward me with her clipboard and her stack of pre-filled forms. She stops at the edge of my driveway. You are in violation of snow removal timing requirements. What timing requirements? Winter emergency rules state that driveways and walkways must be cleared within 4 hours of snowfall cessation. I cleared this an hour ago. The plow just came through. Snowfall ceased at 2 in the morning. You are out of compliance. I point at the fresh berm. The plow just pushed this here 20 minutes ago. Your camera does not matter. My minutes are the truth. She hands me a new notice. Violation. Failure to clear within required time frame. Fine, $100. I take the notice. I do not say anything. I am too angry to trust my words. I watch her walk away, and I realize something. She wants me to blow up. She wants me to yell, to make a scene, to do something she can document as threatening or hostile. She is building a case, and I am not going to give her the ammunition. Instead, I go inside and send another email to the management company. I attach photos with timestamps. I attach the notice. I attach a formal request for a hearing. I CC the lawyer. That afternoon, I get a reply. The compliance committee will schedule a hearing within 30 days. No specific date yet. 30 days. I have been fighting this for a week, and I already have 4 violations and over $300 in fines. At this rate, I will hit 1,000 before I even get in front of the committee. On Sunday, I am in my driveway working on my snowblower when I see a black pickup truck pull up. A guy gets out. He is wearing a jacket with the logo of a snow removal contractor. He walks over. You the guy with the HOA trouble? Yeah. He glances around. I do snow removal for a few of the properties here. Just got a call from Heather Roberts. She told me not to service your property anymore. Said you are non-compliant and the HOA does not want vendors working with problem residents. I stare at him. She is blacklisting me? I do not know what her deal is, but she called 3 contractors in the last 2 days. I am just letting you know. He gets back in his truck and drives off. I go inside and add this to the binder. Contractor intimidation. Witness statement. I am building a case, but I need something bigger. Something that proves intent. Something that flips the script. That is when I remember the dash cam. I installed a dash cam suction mount on my windshield last year after someone backed into my car in a parking lot and drove off. The camera has been recording every time I drive. I pull the SD card and start reviewing footage. It takes me 2 hours, but I find it. 3 days ago, Heather was standing in the street talking to a guy in a high-visibility vest. The guy is holding a camera. Heather is gesturing toward my house. The audio is faint, but I can hear her say something about adjusting the timestamp so it looks like the snow was there longer. The guy nods. Heather hands him something. They walk away. I play it back 5 times. I export the clip. I save it 3 places. I do not tell anyone. I do not mention it in any email. I do not stop her. Because I want her on record. This is my trump card. A screenshot of Karen instructing a vendor to falsify a photo timestamp. And I am going to wait until the perfect moment to use it. The next week is a blur of violations, emails, and escalations. Heather writes me up for ice on my walkway, snow on my roof, a loose shingle she claims is a hazard, and parking my car 3 inches over the line in my assigned spot. Each notice comes with a fine. Each fine escalates. The management company replies to my appeals with vague language about the compliance process. The lawyer says we are building a strong case, but we need to let the HOA exhaust their process before we can file anything. If you are enjoying this story, please hit the like button and subscribe for more HOA chaos, because this is about to get even wilder. On Thursday, I get a call at work. It is the tow company. They say they are en route to tow my vehicle. I ask why. They say the HOA has requested enforcement of the tow authorization due to ongoing non-compliance. I tell them my car is legally parked. They say they are just following the authorization. I leave work. I drive back to the neighborhood. I get there just as the tow truck is backing into my driveway. The driver is hooking up my car. Heather is standing on the sidewalk with her clipboard and her stack of pre-filled forms. She is smiling. I park on the street and get out. What is going on? Heather does not look at me. She speaks to the driver. Proceed with tow. I walk up to the driver. My car is legally parked. There is no violation. He shrugs. I have authorization from the HOA. You need to take it up with them. I pull out my phone. I call the management company. Voicemail. I call the tow company office. They say the driver is following procedure. I call my lawyer. He says he will file an emergency motion, but it will take at least a day. Heather crosses her arms. The rules do not care about your excuses, and neither do I. I take a step back. I take a photo of the tow truck, the driver Heather, and my car. I take a video. I document everything. Then I say something I have been planning for a week. I have evidence that proves you falsified photo timestamps to frame violations. I have it on video, and I am going to present it at the hearing. Heather's smile disappears. She stares at me. The driver looks confused. You are bluffing, she says. I am not. She turns to the driver. Tow the car. The driver hesitates. He looks at me. He looks at Heather. He unhooks my car. I need to see the authorization paperwork, he says. If there is a dispute, I am not touching this. Heather's face goes red. She pulls out her phone and makes a call. She walks away, speaking in a low, angry voice. The driver gets back in his truck and waits. I stand next to my car. My heart is pounding. I just played the card. Not the full reveal, but enough to make her panic. 5 minutes later, Heather comes back. She does not look at me. She tells the driver to stand by and walks back to her own car. The driver shrugs and stays parked. I get in my car and drive it to a friend's house 2 miles away. I am not leaving it in the HOA lot overnight. Not until this is resolved. That evening, I get another email blast. This one is from the HOA president. Subject line: Emergency Compliance Meeting. The body says the board is convening a special session to address ongoing safety violations and resident noncompliance. My address is listed. The meeting is set for Saturday morning at the community center. I forward the email to my lawyer. He replies immediately. Attend the meeting. Bring your evidence. Do not engage emotionally. Let them dig their own hole. On Friday, I go to the county clerk's office and request copies of the HOA covenant, the plat map, and the snow emergency ordinance that Heather has been citing in her notices. The clerk pulls the records. The ordinance does not say what Heather claims it says. In fact, the county has no ordinance about private driveway snow removal timing. The only rule is for sidewalks adjacent to public streets, and it gives residents until noon the day after snowfall. Heather has been misrepresenting the law in writing. I get a certified copy. I add it to the binder. On Saturday morning, I arrive at the community center at 9. The parking lot is full. There are at least 30 people inside. Heather is at the front of the room with the HOA president and 2 other board members. She has a projector set up. She is showing photos of my property. The photos are labeled with dates and times. Some of them do not match my own records. I sit in the back. I do not say anything. I wait. The president opens the meeting. He says the board has received numerous complaints about my property and that the compliance committee has recommended escalated enforcement, including potential fines, liens, and restrictions on HOA amenities. Heather stands up. She walks through the photos one by one. She describes each alleged violation. She says I have been uncooperative, hostile, and dismissive of safety concerns. She says the board has tried to work with me, but I have refused to comply. I raise my hand. The president nods. You will have a chance to respond. Heather continues for another 10 minutes. She shows emails where I ask questions. She frames them as evidence of hostility. She shows the notices. She does not show my appeals. She does not mention that the portal was down. She does not mention that the management company did not respond to my calls. When she finishes, the president asks if I have anything to say. I stand up. I walk to the front. I open the binder. I have documentation for every alleged violation, I say. I have photos with timestamps. I have emails showing that I attempted to appeal and that the HOA portal was down. I have certified copies of the county ordinance that prove the HOA has been misrepresenting the law. I pull out the county clerk document. I pass copies to the board. I read the relevant section out loud. The room is silent. Heather's face is red. That is irrelevant. The HOA covenant gives the board authority to enforce winter emergency rules. I agree, I say. But the covenant does not give the board authority to make up rules that do not exist. And it does not give the board authority to instruct vendors to falsify photo evidence. Heather stands up. That is a lie. I pull out my phone. I cue up the dashcam clip. I connect to the projector. I play the video. The room watches. The audio is clear enough. Heather's voice. Adjust the timestamp so it looks like the snow was there longer. The guy nods. Heather hands him something. The room erupts. Neighbors are shouting. The president is banging a gavel. Heather is screaming that the video is fake, that I doctored it, that I am trying to frame her. I present it during the final showdown and quote Karen's own words back to her. Your camera does not matter. My minutes are the truth. Except your minutes are not the truth. They are fabricated. The president calls for order. He asks Heather to sit down. She refuses. She grabs her clipboard and her stack of pre-filled forms and storms out. The room is chaos. The meeting ends 10 minutes later. The president says the board will review the evidence and issue a decision within a week. I go home. I wait. On Monday, I get a call from the tow company. It is a different person this time. A manager. He says they have reviewed the authorization paperwork and found multiple inconsistencies. He says the company is canceling the HOA contract and refunding my tow charges. He says they are sorry for the confusion. On Tuesday, I get an email from the management company. The compliance committee has reviewed my appeals. All violations are being voided. All fines are being refunded. The HOA is implementing new procedures for winter enforcement to ensure compliance with county ordinances. On Wednesday, I get a letter from the HOA attorney. The board has removed Heather Roberts from the social committee. The board is offering a settlement that includes refunds and limits on enforcement. They ask me to sign a mutual release. I forward it to my lawyer. He says it is a good deal. I sign. On Thursday, I get a call from Rick, my neighbor with the salt bucket. He says the neighborhood group chat has been going crazy. Heather tried to rally support, but people started asking questions. Someone found the emails where she asked contractors to exaggerate hazards. Someone else found a stack of blank tow authorization slips in Heather's glove box when she left her car unlocked at the community center. The board president called an emergency meeting and Heather resigned. I thank him. I hang up. I sit down on my couch and feel the weight lift. The next week, I run into one of the neighbors at the mailbox. She says she heard what happened. She says she is sorry she signed one of Heather's complaint forms. She says Heather told her I was refusing to shovel and that I was making the neighborhood unsafe. She says she did not know the full story. I tell her it is okay. I tell her I understand. I tell her the HOA system is broken when one person can weaponize it like that. She nods. She says the board is talking about reforms, new rules for violations, new oversight for the compliance committee. She says it is because of what I did. I do not feel like a hero. I feel tired. But I also feel something else. I feel like I fought back and won. A month later, the snow is melting. The streets are clear. The handrail that started everything is just a handrail again. No frost. No violation. No drama. I get a letter from the HOA attorney. The settlement is final. The ledger entry is voided. The tow authorization is canceled. The refunds have been processed. The board has adopted new enforcement policies that require documentation, timelines, and appeals procedures that actually work. I put the letter in the binder. I close it. I put it on the shelf. I go outside. The air is cold, but the sun is out. I see Rick with his salt bucket. I wave. He waves back. I get in my car. I drive to work. I do my job. I come home. I park in my assigned spot. No notice on the door. No clipboard. No Heather. It is over. But here is the thing about HOA wars. They leave a mark. I still check my door every time I come home. I still take photos of my driveway after every snow. I still keep the dash cam running. Because I know how fast it can turn. I know how one person with a clipboard and a grudge can make your life a nightmare. And I know that the only thing that stops it is proof. I also know something else. I am not the only one. There are other stories. Other neighbors who got hit with bogus fines and fake violations. Other people who lost cars to tow scams and lost money to escalating fees. And now, because of what happened, the board is looking at all of it. They are reviewing complaints. They are auditing vendor contracts. They are checking the compliance committee records. Heather is gone, but the system she exploited is still there. And until that changes, there will always be another Heather. Another board member who decides the rules do not matter. Another neighbor who thinks a clipboard gives them power. But at least now, there is a record. There is evidence. There is proof that you can fight back and win. A few weeks later, I get an email from Rick. He says the board just held an election for the social committee chair. He says 3 people ran. He says one of them was the contractor who told me about Heather's blacklist. He says that guy won. I reply, I say that is good news. I say I hope things get better. Rick replies, he says the new chair wants to meet with me. He says they are planning a community meeting about enforcement policies and they want my input. I think about it. I think about all the hours I spent documenting, fighting, and stressing over violations that never should have happened. I think about the neighbors who believed the emails. I think about the contractors who got pressured. I think about the tow driver who almost hooked my car because he was following bad paperwork. And I think about the dashcam clip, the one piece of evidence that changed everything. I reply to Rick. I say I will go to the meeting. The meeting is held on a Saturday morning in April. The snow is gone. The air is warm. The community center is full again, but this time, the energy is different. People are asking questions. People are proposing changes. People are talking about transparency and accountability. The new social committee chair stands up. He says the board is drafting new rules for winter enforcement. He says violations will require photographic evidence with timestamps verified by a third party. He says fines will have an appeals process with a neutral arbitrator. He says the compliance committee will be restructured with term limits and oversight. Someone in the back raises a hand. What about the tow contract? The chair nods. We canceled the old contract. We are reviewing vendors now. No more open-ended authorizations. No more blank slips. Another hand. What about Heather? The chair takes a breath. Heather Roberts resigned from the board and the social committee. The board accepted her resignation and referred her conduct to the management company. The management company is conducting an internal review. Beyond that, I cannot comment. The room is quiet. Then someone claps. Then another person. Then the whole room. I sit in the back. I do not clap. I just watch. After the meeting, the chair walks over. He thanks me for coming. He says the reforms would not have happened without the evidence I brought forward. He says the board knows they have work to do to rebuild trust. I nod. I tell him I appreciate it. He asks if I am willing to serve on the compliance committee. I say no. I say I have done my part. I say I just want to live in peace. He understands. He shakes my hand. He walks away. I drive home. I park in my spot. I walk up to my front door. No notice. No clipboard. No drama. I go inside. I sit down. I pull out my phone. I open the email from the management company. The one that says all violations are voided and all fines are refunded. I read it one more time. Then I delete it. I do not need it anymore. The next day, I am at work when I get a text from an unknown number. The message says, I heard what you did. Thank you. I got hit with bogus fines last year, and I did not know how to fight back. Your story gave me hope. I do not reply. I do not know who sent it, but I saved the message. Because that is the thing about fighting back. It is not just about winning. It is about showing other people that it can be done. It is about proving that the system can be challenged. It is about creating a record so the next person does not have to start from scratch. A week later, I am clearing my mailbox when I see a new neighbor moving in 2 doors down. She is young, maybe mid-20s. She is carrying boxes. She looks stressed. I walk over. I introduce myself. I ask if she needs help. She says no, but thanks. She says she just closed on the townhouse. She says she is excited to be here. I nod. I tell her welcome to the neighborhood. I tell her if she has any questions about the HOA, she can ask me. She laughs. Oh God, I hope I do not have HOA drama. I smile. Just keep records. Take photos. Read the covenant. And if something feels wrong, do not ignore it. She looks at me. You sound like you have been through it. I have. She asks what happened. I give her the short version. Bogus fines, fake violations, falsified evidence, tow threats, and a dashcam clip that blew it all open. She stares at me. Are you serious? Dead serious. She thanks me. She says she will keep her camera running. I walk back to my house. I feel good. I feel like maybe, just maybe, the next person will not have to fight as hard as I did. 3 months later, I get an email from the tow company manager. He says the company has implemented new policies for HOA contracts. He says they now require signed authorization from the property owner before any tow, and they verify all paperwork with the management company before dispatch. He says the changes were prompted by what happened with the Icefall Landing Village Association. He thanks me for bringing the issue to their attention. I forward the email to my lawyer. He replies, "Congratulations. You changed the system." I do not feel like I changed the system. I feel like I survived it. But maybe that is enough. 6 months later, it is winter again. The first snow falls on a Tuesday night. I wake up at 5 in the morning. I put on my red parka and my gray beanie. I clip the flashlight to my pocket. I grab my shovel. I go outside. The driveway is covered. I clear it. I salt it. I take photos. I move my car. I document everything. But this time, there is no notice on the door. No clipboard, no Heather. I stand in the cold morning air and I breathe. I watch the sun come up over the rooftops. I see Rick with his salt bucket waving from his driveway. I wave back. I go inside. I make coffee. I sit down at the table. I look at the binder on the shelf. I do not open it. I do not need to. It is over. And this time, it stays over. The funny karma beat comes a month later. I am at the grocery store when I see Heather in the checkout line. She does not see me. She is arguing with the cashier about a coupon. The cashier is calm, professional. Heather is loud, insistent. She says the rules do not care about excuses. The manager comes over. The manager pulls up the coupon policy on a tablet. The manager reads it out loud. The coupon is expired. Heather is wrong. The room reacts. Other customers are watching. Someone laughs. Heather's face goes red. She grabs her bags and storms out. I pay for my groceries. I drive home. I smile the whole way. The HOA removes the enforcement action and voids the ledger entry. Karen's bluff gets read out loud and the room reacts. A settlement that includes refunds and limits on enforcement becomes the foundation for real reform. And Karen tries to flex authority, but the policy says she cannot. That is how it ends. Not with a dramatic showdown in a courtroom, not with arrests or lawsuits, just a settlement, a policy change, and a community that finally said enough. I still live in Icefall Landing. I still go to work at the water treatment plant. I still clear my driveway every winter. But now, I do it without fear. I do it without looking over my shoulder. I do it because it is my house, my driveway, and my responsibility. Not because someone with a clipboard told me to. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.